If you're a more casual comic book fan, you've probably been hearing more about Shazam this year than you have in your entire life. The story of Shazam is a particularly weird part of superhero history, and a cautionary tale about how even Earth's mightiest mortals can be brought down by the dreaded red tape of bureaucracy. Strap yourselves in, this one's kind of a doozy. But first, make sure to hit that subscribe button where we got you covered for comic deep dives, TV breakdowns, and movie reviews. The first thing you need to understand, Shazam is just as old as Superman, making him one of the earliest superheroes to ever exist. But back in the 1940s, his name wasn't Shazam, it was Captain Marvel. And no, he has nothing to do with Marvel Comics' Carol Danvers, Marvel, or any other more popular name associations you might have. Captain Marvel was published through a company called Fawcett that for a time in the 40s was one of the most popular and profitable comic publishers in the country. He even beat out Superman for a time in sales and fan recognition, something which competitor National, who would later go on to become DC, weren't too thrilled about.
You've been served. You've been served. You've been served. You've been served.
Later, after a series of complicated on and off again legal battles that lasted throughout the early 50s, Fawcett agreed to stop publishing any and all Captain Marvel related comics. Years later, DC bought the licensing rights to Fawcett characters and absorbed them into continuity. The name change from Captain Marvel to Shazam unofficially started in the 60s and 70s when DC attempted to revive his solo book, but found themselves up against the newly formed Marvel Comics and their copyrights. They named the book Shazam, but didn't actually change the characters on the page. The official name change came in 2011 with the line-wide continuity reboot of the DC Universe, the New 52. The name Captain Marvel was dropped completely, in theory to save everyone the headache of trying to specify which character and company they were talking about at any given moment. Not every part of Shazam is legal battles or name confusion. The original story went like this. A young plucky orphan named Billy Batson was granted the fantastic ability by a wizard to speak a word of power and be struck by magical lightning. The process transformed him into an adult superhero named Captain Marvel. The word Shazam was actually an acronym with each letter standing for one of Captain Marvel's abilities: the wisdom of Solomon, the strength of Hercules, the stamina of Atlas, the power of Zeus, the courage of Achilles, and the speed of Mercury. When transformed into Captain Marvel, saying Shazam reverts him back into normal Billy Batson, giving him a built-in secret identity to play with. The wizard, named the Wizard Shazam, because of course that's his name, just to keep the confusion train rolling, resides in a magical extra-dimensional place called the Rock of Eternity. There, he's charged with keeping an eye on the imprisoned 7 deadly sins represented by giant monsters bound in place as statues by the wizard's magic. As Captain Marvel, Billy's job is to be the wizard's champion and protect humanity from all sorts of corruption, from the influence of the sins themselves to the evil of Dr. Sivana. Basically, he's Superman but powered by magic rather than Kryptonian genetics and yellow sun radiation, which coincidentally was the basis for a lot of DC's old lawsuits against him. Also, just because the magic word physically transformed Billy into an adult, it didn't actually change him into a new person. This is not a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde situation. It's literally a superhero version of Tom Hanks in Big. Billy is still a kid, even when he's got the body and power of an entire pantheon of Greek heroes, though of course the wisdom of Solomon does make him considerably smarter than your average punk preteen.
Wisdom does not equal maturity.
Hey, I'm sitting right here.
Since the New 52 Shazam rebrand, a lot of Billy's history has been modified, but his powers have remained the same. He's still an orphan, but he's been given rougher edges and made part of a foster care system. Billy's vintage popularity promptly spun off into new characters with similar powers in the 40s and 50s. Captain Marvel stories formed the first ever superhero family. Fawcett introduced characters like Captain Marvel Jr., Mary Marvel, Uncle Marvel, and Hoppy the Marvel Bunny? No, really, who received their own ensemble book called, you guessed it, The Marvel Family. The Marvel family's influence is still felt today. Without the Marvel family, we wouldn't call Batman and his associates the Bat Family, and we definitely wouldn't have beloved animal sidekicks like Krypto and Ace the Bat Hound. Shazam is set to release in April of 2019. Former Chuck star Zachary Levi will portray Shazam, while Asher Angel will play Billy Batson, and the two will go toe-to-toe with Dr. Sivana, played by Mark Strong. The film will be directed by David F. Sandberg, who has gone on record to state that the film will have a more lighthearted tone than many of the recent DC movies. As in the comics, the story will focus on a teenage Billy who becomes an adult superhero by saying the single word, Shazam.
Fight's over, son.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Let us know if you're excited about Shazam in the comment section down below. And as always, keep it tuned to GameSpot Universe.